$2,500 to $3,000. Now, once you start adding on all the goodies, it turns out to be about $4 grand, anywhere from $3 to $4 grand. Captains make about anywhere from 4 to 5.5. Anywhere from $4,000 a month to $5,500 a month. Anybody know insurance? How much a doctor pays on insurance? Around about a lot. A lot, right? No insurance. You don't pay insurance. You don't pay any of that stuff. We'll get to it. I just thought about it now that I got it. Active duty, doctor, captain. I've been in 18 years. You guys finished school. I see you coming towards me. I have stopped to salute you. One of the powers, perks of being an officer in the Army. You have any stories about officers?
Stories?
Yeah, you have any stories about officers?
Like what kind of stories?
Anything as far as any of your experiences?
I've been out of the military now I was in the military. I was in the Army back in the 70s, so you guys weren't even close to being conceived back then. So it's been a while. But I wasn't an officer. I was enlisted. I went in as non-commissioned. And what he's telling you here about going in after your schooling and you enter as an officer, you're definitely above and you have privileges that the enlisted do not have. So it's definitely I was enlisted, I wasn't an officer, and I certainly envied those people that were officers and wish I had been there, but I wasn't. So anyway, it was a good experience. I certainly benefited from it, but all the officers I interacted with were gentlemen, very nice, very pleasant, and the hierarchy here is very structured in the Army. That's something in the military you need to be aware of. You do have an environment here where there is a pecking order, and even as an officer, you have people under you, you have people above you, and you have to, act accordingly, and you have your chain of command, and it's very structured. And I tell students that if you're not a person that kind of likes that sort of rank and privilege that goes along with the military, then you might think about this as an option. But if it's something that you don't mind or you find it advantageous, then I'd say definitely consider it.
The best way I can describe it to you is, imagine a city. You have your blue collar workers, everybody that pretty much makes the city work. Then you have your law enforcement people, your policemen, firemen, all that good stuff, who enforce the laws that your politicians put out. Now, think of the politicians as the officers. Think of your law enforcement as the non-commissioned officers, which I am. And then think of your blue-collar workers as your private, your junior enlisted. And that's pretty much how the Army works. Your junior enlisted pretty much do all of the work. The NCOs, the non-commissioned officers, enforce the laws and rules that the officers basically put out. That's pretty much the best way I can describe it. But when you're an officer, you're definitely a leader. You're a medical student, all academics, lots of hours, very stressful. I'm sure everybody knows that. Third year, clinicals, the environment's a little more relaxed. Skip over a couple because they pretty much say the same thing. Fourth year, you'll go through the match. And everybody remember what we talked about for the match. Everybody knows what it is, right? Match before you're ready. Oh, and the Army's match rate is 97%. So you have a 97% chance. It was 93 the year before last, and it was 97. So you have a 97% chance of getting the residency that you want.
Can we get a little interaction going
Yes.
here? And I know a little bit about this, and I will try to pull some of this out of Dr. Sergeant Chambers. I want to call him Dr.
Dr. for this evening.
Good doctor. But they say match. Now, I understood while I was running around doing all this stuff, he talked a little bit about the match. Does everybody understand about the match? Did he make that clear? But now he just said that the Army is going to match you 98%. 97%. That's an astounding statement. I'd put his feet to the fire on that one. Matt, what does that mean?
For the last few years, it's definitely been over 90%. Definitely been over 90%. Last year was 97.
I must have missed something. What was the match again?
It is when you decide on a specialty, your residency that you want to go to.
Okay.
You want to be matched to that residency. Not everyone's going to get the opportunity to go to the residency and do what they really want to go do.
Okay, hopefully all of you understand that in order to get the HPSP, which he's here to present and hopefully get you interested in, you're going to first of all have to be accepted to med school. Did he make that clear? You've got to have a letter from the med school saying we want you, so you've got to get up to that.
Unless you have a 31 already on your MCAT and you have a 3.5.
But that is still conditional.
Yes.
Yes.
So if you, because we're gonna give it to you, but you still have to get into med school. If you don't get it, then it's okay.
So you got to get in med school to get HPSP, all right? But you can shine and be awesome, and they will let you sign the paper and already line you up, and you're ready to be stamped and put into the program. But until you get that letter from the med school, you're not then officially in.
Correct.
Then you're in, all right? And then you're going to go to med school, and you're going to be just like a normal med school. You're not going to wear a uniform every day. You're going to be blended. Nobody's going to know that you're in the Army. You'll go and do your stuff, but now for the summer, he's going to say, hey, I need you. Now tell him about the summers. Right? So as you're going through, you are really in the Army in disguise here. All right. So
correct. For 45 days during the summer, we're going to actually come and train with us. Not only
you're
are
going
we
to be required to train.
Correct. You're going to come train with us. Say it has to. You're going to come and train with us. In the Army, we like to say that. Oh, we're going to ask you to do this. That means you're going to do this.
I understand the Army. The Army doesn't ask you to do that. On this side, the Army asks you. Once you're on the other side of the signed line, they tell you.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Just be aware of that. Okay.
So true. That's so true.
He's going to take you to the floor here. So
no, I love that. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I do tend. I've been in for so long that I tell from my point of view a lot. So I like that. That's good stuff. I forget everybody's not in the Army right now. So.
But tell them about the training. It's like going to a resort. You're going to be an officer in training,
right.
Not the grunt training that we
right.
had as enlisted. You're not going to do the low crawl. You're not going to shoot weapons. You might, go and swim an hour a day or something like that. And
everyone does
push-ups, but you're going to be an officer. So it's not going to be that strenuous of training. So, but you're going to have to commit that summer to doing that, all right?
Yes. Yes, you will. And while you're doing that, we're going to pay you lieutenant pay. So you'll be receiving that lieutenant pay. You'll get full active duty benefits such as free health care for that time. Anything happen to you, you don't come out of your pocket a penny. I can walk out here right now and trip down these steps, fall, break a hip, and be laid up for 6 weeks. I still get paid.
Is that free health care for your family as well? If you went in with husband, children, or?
It's not completely free,
okay.
But there's a very small copay. I think my son was sick with me last week. All my meds were free, of course. I paid $6 for maybe like 5 prescriptions for my son. Good job.
Okay, back to med school. You do the summer training. You do that every summer, right?
Yes, but the only time that it's 100% required is after the first year.
Right. And then you can get excused. You can get some leeway. But now, did you tell them that they're going to get a nice check every month while you're in med school and they're paying your med school bill? You're going to get almost $2,000 a month.
Right, 1992.
Did he tell you that? All right, and that's not bad. That's a stipend that you get while you're in med school. All right, now you got questions. Good.
You said if you pass certain tests, you can get that up.
The stipend? No.
Okay, what was the learning German, learning Japanese?
Oh, that's just extra stuff. That like there are so many extra pays that you can get yourself qualified for.
Okay, so that's just separate from the stipend.
Correct. That's separate from everything. That's something you're gonna do once you become active duty.
Yeah,
Once you become active duty, yeah, after your training and all that, after this program is done, once you get to your duty station and that's your job and that's what you're doing, there are so many different programs that you can go and qualify yourself for.
You can't enhance your stipend as long as you're in med school. It's
Correct.
fixed. But then the Spanish and all that stuff will add on once you're in active duty.
But the stipend does go up every July. Every July the stipend goes up. Last year it was 1907, so it didn't go up that much. But the year before that, I think it was only like 16. So it jumped from 16 to 19 in the year, and then from 1907 to 1992. So next year, who knows what's going to go to.
Yes, while you're actually in school, what do you do like on a weekly basis for the
School.
So you don't have PT?
You don't wear a uniform, no PT, you don't do anything, you go to school.
You don't have to wear your hair short. You don't have to.
I know that for, at least for med school, I know you're pretty much one of your last summers is between your first and second year of school.
Yes.
So for any other time when classes and starting to do rotations starts to kind of roll into one another, how's that work? Do they pardon you if you're
Right. If you're doing rotations or if you're working with school, if it's a school organized thing, then that's what you do. We're not going to pull you out of school for anything.
Yeah, med school gets kind of tight once you are past your first year. Your first year, the first summer is pretty much yours. And then you then go the second year, and the second summer you're pretty much in school, and the third summer. And then the fourth
Right.
summer you're moving into your residency. So the only summer you're going to have free in med school is that first summer. And that's when they're going to demand those 4 weeks of training. Right?
Yes. 45 days.
6 weeks.
Talk about your about the residency, like civilian or military residency. Is that like so you specialize in something or try to specialize, and then they tell you where to go to residency, or you choose, or what?
They're going to tell you that.
Yeah, we get to that. That's the part you guys need to pay very close attention to. Yes, ma'am.
For the 6 weeks, what does that schedule look like as far as
What you'll be doing?
during the summer? Yes.
Usually it's a 5 o'clock wake up, 5:30. You'll do a little PT, physical training. Make sure you're staying in shape. You do that for about an hour. Then you do a little personal hygiene. Come back to your room, get cleaned up, do yourself some breakfast, and maybe go to a class around 8:30ish, 9. It all depends on what time of the year you're on. Sometimes they'll go that time back an hour. And it's mostly like a gentleman's course. Is what we compare it to. Compared to basic training, that's what we call it, a gentleman's course. I'm pretty sure y'all seen all types of horror stories about what basic training is like. It's nothing like basic training at all.
Is it all with healthcare?
Yes, it'll be all. You'll be there with other healthcare professionals such as yourself in that class. Now on that post, there are going to be lots of things there, but in that class that you're going to be in, all with healthcare professionals.
And after that class, is that it for the day?
And that's usually what you're going to do. Yeah. At some point in time, though, you're going to do what we call field training. So they'll have a makeshift hospital made out of tents out in the field environment, which will be on the base somewhere. And you'll go there and you'll pretend that you're out in the field environment, and you'll treat patients, or probably other students, acting as patients, just to give you an idea of what the Army life is like, whether you're working in a fixed facility in a hospital, or whether you're combat environment in the hospital. They're going to teach you all that. They're going to train